This is a neat Sirius and Orion build that I've been running for a while. It lets you mix together all of their abilities and kind of have this neat flow. So the main concept of this build is the interaction between pyrotechnics, that's Temple's subsume ability, the flame pillars, and ragdolled enemies. So I can show you here, if I use pyrotechnics on these enemies, it'll do some damage, it'll do some heat procs, and it's pretty good damage. I mean, you can see the damage over time is killing a lot of these enemies. But if I were to ragdoll them first with something like Event Horizon and then use it, they pretty much die immediately. And this is because pyrotechnics actually, on a ragdolled enemy, instead of hitting them once, it'll hit each of their unique body parts. So it'll hit their legs, their arms, and their torso, basically 5xing the damage, as well as then all of these enemies are grouped up, stacked together, because Event Horizon pulls them together. So you're just getting a lot of damage for free. The second wrinkle of this build is that all of Sirius's abilities apply heat, because Jade Stars, with the recent change, with 100% status effects, and the fact that it just does heat damage, Coronal Ejection does heat, and of course Pyrotechnics does heat, since I subsumed over Light Sanctuary, just because it's very stationary, and I don't like how it takes a long time for it to grow. So this is here, they all apply heat now. And so if we go into the builds, you can see that I have fully embraced this with Archon Vitality, and then Arcane Hotshot, caring about all of those status effects, letting you get that heat chance, crit chance rather, much faster. And you can just see, like, if I spawn even, let's just say 10 enemies here, and I group them all up with my black hole and then hit them with that, that's immediately all 50 stacks of Arcane Hotshot. This will only apply to Sirius, so if I'm ever going to want to be running and gunning, I need to be on Sirius, as they do not share arcanes. The rest of the build, we have Sirius here. He's my strength brother, since I'm mainly wanting him to do all of the damage with pyrotechnics and things like that. Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude, Intensify, which could be Umbral Intensify, I just didn't want to apply another Forma. Just makes all of his abilities even stronger. Power Donation is here. Because you have 2 auras, Power Donation, you should pretty much always run it, I feel, because you will gain that 30% strength on the other brother. So it's basically like you're losing nothing. You're losing 30% strength somewhere and putting it somewhere else, and just giving the rest of the squad 30% strength. And then a little bit of duration, some efficiency. You don't need that much efficiency because of their passive. When you switch between them, your next abilities get 45% efficiency, and I like switching between them a lot, so that helps. And then Arcane Energize, I recommend 100% that you run Arcane Energize on these brothers, because it actually applies to both of them. So, and you can look at Sirius's energy bar there. If I pick up an energy orb, that will give Sirius some energy. So having it on both of them basically lets you like quadruple dip on it, as you're getting this energy for yourself and then for your brother, and then also the cooldown is independent between them because they don't share arcanes, so you can get it 4 times as often as someone else basically. And onto Orion now, as Sirius was the strength brother, Orion is the range brother. Overextended, Augur Reach, Stretch, and Cutting Drift to get the max 280% range, just for Event Horizon to gather up as many enemies as possible. It luckily was recently buffed, so now I have a 22 meter range, and sometimes it even feels like it can ragdoll some enemies that aren't actually being pulled into it, just those that are like near the radius, and because they're being ragdolled, they still have that same effect with pyrotechnics. Little bit of efficiency, and then Precision Intensify. Well, first off, I want to get to 200% strength to get the full strip with Gravitic Slash. You don't need to, but I just like having a full strip, just seeing all of the armor go away. So Blind Rage gets him to 169, and then plus the 30% from Power Donation will get him to 199. and Molt Augmented here will push him over the limit and then continue to grow as well. You can replace this with whatever you want. But Precision intensifies here, because of the way Celestial Clash works, is that it actually uses the abilities, the strength, and the range of whichever brother is currently attacking. So right now, oh, that was just a visual bug having the stars there. But right now I am attacking as Sirius, so it is going to use his strength and range. And then if I were to switch to Orion, then it would use his strength and range. So I just wanted the strength to actually be a match there with the extra 90% and then the extra 30% from Sirius. This is actually 280%, which is pretty much the same that Sirius has, though Orion has much more range, so it can be smart to plan, like make sure that your last star is Orion, since that's going to be the strongest one. Onto the shards, got some strength shards just to push them over the limits, get Orion to that full strip and a bit more strength for Sirius's damage. Casting speed, because I thought the casting speed of Event Horizon was very low, and also when using Celestial Clash, the actual each attack going after the other brother is affected by casting speed, and just like with the strength and range, it uses the stats of the brother you're currently controlling. So I put a shard because the shards apply to both of them, so I didn't have to like put natural talent on both of them. And then this armor shard is left over from when I was making a health tank version of Sirius. And the energy shard, or preparation shard rather, I just like this so that at the start of the mission I can just cast something and immediately Celestial Clash, because I like using this as a movement ability. You can see it actually makes you quite quick and gives you that free flight, so especially on a tile set like Jupiter or something like that, you can just get around wherever you want. And it actually refunds your energy if you cast it and then don't do any attacks. You just get all that energy back. So it's basically just a free movement tool, but if you're moving along and you see a group of enemies, you can also just blow them up, which is very nice. As for survivability, I pretty much just rely on Orion's Astral Shell, as in my experience, the survivability this offers is pretty much enough, just because the threat level of that ghost is so high that enemies, like even those right next to me, will just focus on the ghost instead. And my duration on Orion is enough that I can continue to get them. The actual duration of the ghost is longer than the cooldown, and you can just recast it to basically ignore the cooldown, as well as switching between brothers will basically give that other brother some time to refill their shields or heal up or anything like that. It's a little bit more of an active playstyle than just like slamming your face into the abilities whenever your shield is down or having like Revenant invincibility, but I like it. And then also, of course, the CC from Event Horizon kind of stops a lot of enemies from shooting you regardless, so that can help. Now, there are quite a few bugs with Sirius and Orion at this moment. I think I've submitted 8 to the forums, so there are a lot of things going on, so some of the things might change. But for example, one thing that kind of messes with this build is that Pyrotechnics is not... Oh. Alright, well, looks like that one was fixed, is that Pyrotechnics actually does shoot the Jade Stars, so that's neat. That actually makes this a lot better. But some other things is like you to cast the other frame's abilities, you just hold it down and that lets you switch between them. But it's not currently working with Helminth abilities. In the patch notes, they said it should work with Helminth abilities that don't have hold functionality. So if I hold to go to Pyrotechnics, I'm not allowed to hold to switch back to cast Event Horizon, which is kind of a problem because that's the main thing I ever want to cast. And there's also a bug that comes along with this, where if I hold down 3 to cast Pyrotechnics, the next ability I hold down will not switch me to Orion. So if I hold this down, if I want to cast Graphitic Slash, it will just use Sirius's ability, and then if I hold it down again, it will actually switch between them. So just a little thing that can kind of make it a little annoying, but you can get used to it. Just do an extra cast of Jade Stars or something. And there are definitely other ways to do this. Like I said, the Arcane Hotshot is not shared to Orion, so this kind of like forces you to make sure that you're always on Sirius when you want to use your guns. But you could, in theory, just put Pyrotechnics over one of Orion's abilities, rather, and basically just ignore Sirius's existence. Like, if I just put it over his 1, if you don't care about the armor strip, or even if you just put it over his 4, though I wouldn't, because even if you don't like the nuke, the movement is just almost unparalleled. Then you can just have one frame that lets you use this black hole and then start burning people inside it, and then that would still give you the heat stacks. As well as, because your brother will cast abilities on his own, even if you never switch to him, he can cast Jade Stars, which will apply to Orion and let you actually build up more of the Arcane Hotshot stacks. But I like switching between them, and like building up this big nuke where they like dance together and stuff like that. So that's the way I built it, but there are definitely other ways to do it. So I hope you enjoyed and have fun with this build if you end up running it, and I will see you next time.